Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Nobody Asked podcast, the podcast you didn't ask for. I'm your host, Ben Zamperio, and I hope everyone out there is having a beautiful day. For the most part, unless you're a piece of shit, then I hope it's not good. I hope your day reflects who you are as a person. Today, we have a really cool guest on. You definitely have all seen her face. She is the girl behind one of the most iconic images, most shared images of all time, the Disaster Girl meme. This image was taken in 2005, a long time ago. So we're going to go on a journey and learn the origins of the photo and, everything that it's led to. It's a really interesting interview, really fun. And I had a really good time talking to her. Her name's Zoe Roth. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Without further I do, let's jump right into that interview. So today I am joined by the woman, the meme, the legend behind one of the most iconic pictures of all time, Disaster Girl, also known as Zoe Roth. How are you doing today, Zoe?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. So great. Why don't we just start from the beginning, right? Your face is one of the most shared images of all time, right? Like you probably rival like the Mona Lisa with like with how recognizable and how many people have seen your face. Like, how does that feel?
That's always crazy. Sometimes I try to guess what percent, maybe 1% of people who are alive, 2% of people who are alive have seen my face. But it's still I can go to the grocery store, I can do anything, and nobody would recognize me in my everyday life.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a bit of a blessing for you, because a lot of the memes of people that are kind of older, like that guy looking back at the girl or whatever, or any of those, if you saw those people now, we'd recognize them. But because you were so young, it's really hard to recognize you. So that gives you that little bit of discreetness, right?
But yeah, I definitely am very thankful for the anonymity. It's I get to, talk about it when I need to, but I can also brush it away when I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds. That's
exactly,
pretty sweet.
Hannah Montana.
All right, great. So I know you've probably, recounted this story 1,000 times, but for anyone that doesn't know, why don't you just take us through the day and the backstory behind that iconic photo?
Yeah, so it was January of 2005, and I was living in Mebane, North Carolina. So my mom had walked out to our front yard, and she saw all this smoke billowing up a few blocks down. And so we're if there's a fire that close, you might as well go check it out, see what's going on. So my mom, my dad, and my older brother, we walked down the street. My dad grabbed his camera. He just gotten a new camera, and he's an amateur photographer. So he was always taking pictures anyway. So he's if we see this smoke, there's probably something to see. So we walk down the street and we see this house on fire, and the fire department's there, but they're not really trying to put it out. They're kind of I don't know, fucking around. They're letting kids hold the fire hose. It's just there's not a lot of danger. I remember at the time I was looking in the windows and being oh, I'm watching all this stuff burn. That sucks. But apparently the people whose house it was, they donated it to the fire department to clear the land so that the fire department could test out, their abilities. So it was a whole pre-planned thing.
All right, cool. So so the picture, right, was just kind of a spur of the moment thing, right?
Yeah, my dad has a few pictures from that day, and we were going through, and there's a picture of me and my brother running down the street with the fire in the back. There's a picture of my brother in front of the fire too. They're right next to each other when you're clicking through the pictures of that day. So it's just me smiling, and then it's Tristan smiling, and they're right next to each other. It's crazy.
It's funny because I saw I think you did a BuzzFeed interview or something, and they pulled up the pictures of your brother, and I thought those were really funny too. And I can't believe those didn't become memes too. It's because he's in a Harry Potter outfit or something. I'm it's so ridiculous, but very interesting. When your father, you said he was an amateur photographer, when he took that picture, did he know it was gold, or what happened with that?
Yeah, I think he was pretty hype about it. He's oh, it's a perfect frame shot. It follows the rules of thirds. It's focused in the front but blurry in the back. He knew it was a good picture. And I think pretty soon after, maybe it was pretty soon after, maybe it was a few years later, he was going through and he posted it on Flickr and Zoomer, which were like early photo sharing websites. And he didn't post any of the other ones. He didn't post one of my brother, which is probably why I didn't get famous. Sucks.
So how old were you then when it started to kind of blow up? Because you were really little when it was taken. You said 2005, but like when that picture probably started blowing up, like early 2010s or something. Like, how old were
Yeah,
you?
so it started in like 2008. And when it started, people would like take my picture and they'd put it in the corner, the corner of the frame, and then they put some disaster behind it. And that was like the original way that people would use it.
Yeah.
So they'd put like the dinosaurs blowing up or like the Hindenburg blowing up, like all these terrible disasters. And then, so that was, I think 2008, Know Your Meme made like a little video about it.
Yeah.
And then every like 2 or 3 years, it like gets another like
Little
viral
wave.
wave.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what was it like growing up as a meme? Like, were you made fun of in school, or did people think it was cool? Like, was it a benefit or a hindrance, you know?
It was definitely a good thing for me. I never had any problems with it. I know some of the other memes, like recently I've been talking to more of them, because we're all just like kind of friends now, but it's like some of them, like they don't like that as much just because they look like they're memes still and they can't really like
They
separate
can't
themselves
shake it.
from it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Unlike me. But yeah, everybody I grew up with was chill about it because everybody always knew about it. So it wasn't anything, like, oh, you're a meme. Like that's like, it's not even something to make fun. Like it's cool. Like I think it's cool. And everybody I was friends with was like, oh, that's cool too. It's not,
Yeah.
never got made fun of, thankfully.
Yeah, well, that's cool. So it's definitely like a good icebreaker, like like
Hmm.
little party like fact that you can pull up, like. So I think
Yeah,
that's
but
cool.
I never like at a party, I never use it as an icebreaker. Like people are always like, oh, that'd be the best fun fact. But I'm like,
Yeah,
I always end up saying something else because I feel like people will always find out anyway. And they're like, oh, like, why don't you tell me? And I'm like, there's other things that you can know about me. And
there's
people
more to
always find
you.
out. Exactly, exactly. So that's why I don't tell people usually when I meet them.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So yeah, let's talk about. You said you kind of know the other memes. Well, I was doing some research, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I saw that you were a part of some sort of like Internet Hall of Fame thing, but I couldn't find a lot of information on it. But it looked like you won some sort of award or something. Like, can you tell us about that and what that was like?
Our next honoree has been a meme since all the way back in the internet stone age of 2008. She showed us the devastating power of a little smirk. We'd like to induct into BuzzFeed's Internet Hall of Fame, Disaster Girl! Disaster Girl herself, Zoe Roth. How are you, Zoe?
Yeah, so in 2019, BuzzFeed did this Internet Hall of Fame thing, and I think it was like kind of just like this like big party for all of their employees, and they invited a bunch of viral internet people, just like internet people in general came. So they had like Lil Nas X performing. So it was me and the two Damn Daniel guys, and then Ava, who's the girl from Vine, like the little tiny girl who made all the funny vines, and we were all invited there for the what was it? Like the meme hall of fame or something, and they gave us little like trophies and everything, and it was like this segment where we got interviewed by Jason Nash.
Jojo, this is a new suit. Don't even.
About like tell a little story about your meme, and then we got Jojo Siwa like came up on stage. It was like a fever dream. The whole thing was like insane.
So who's your favorite meme? You say you know them. Like what memes should we love as well?
Well, I mean, I really like Gavin because I think he's so funny. Like Gavin, the one from Vine, just because all of his videos are so funny. I've never talked to him though, so it kind of sucks. Maybe he'll be the next person I make friends with, the next meme that I make friends with.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned I don't know if you mentioned this yet, but you were also featured in a What Do You Meme card game, right?
Hmm.
Where it's like, how does that game work?
So it's like apples to apples, but with memes. So you get a card that's like when you like fart in front of your crush, and then you have like so you
Oh,
have
you
the
play
meme,
the
and everybody
meme.
has, yeah. But I'm also on the back of the box of that game,
Okay.
which is fun because then anytime I go to like Urban Outfitters or Target and I'm in like some random city, I'm like, I wonder if I just go over to the aisle, like flip it over. I'm like, nice, and then
That's
just keep
pretty cool.
going.
That's pretty cool. Have you ever been like at a party or like with a group of friends and like they're playing that game and like they don't know that you're there?
Usually when people are playing it, I like it's my friends and they already know. One time I was working at a hotel and I saw some people playing it and I was like, oh, I wanted to tell them so bad. I wanted to tell them on the box, but I'm like, I'm not going to. It'd be weird.
You could have just like stood around making the face and seeing how
Yeah,
long it took.
sideways,
Yeah, just
smile.
like,
Like, do you guys recognize me?
Okay, cool. So let's talk about this. You recently made some big news because you sold like the original photo as an NFT, right? And
Yes.
if I'm reading it correctly, it sold for $500,000, which is
Yes.
pretty crazy. So tell us about that.
So, in like January or February, some random guy emailed me from this like random email address and like, hey, I'm interested in selling your meme as a fun non-fungible token on, and I think you can make 6 figures. And so I forwarded it to my dad because at that point it's just me and my dad doing all the meme business. He's
Yeah.
like, this looks like bullshit. Like I wouldn't, I don't think this is anything serious. And then I have a friend who's studying like media journalism. So I'm just like having coffee with him one time. He's like, yeah, NFTs are all the rage. Like, and I was like, what's an NFT? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Someone just emailed me about an NFT. And then I saw some of the other memes, like Overly Touched Girlfriend and Nyan Cat sold their memes for like $600,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm from that same like era, that early meme era. And I was like, I don't know if NFTs are like here to stay, but if they're, I'm
You
hopping
might
on
as well
the
cash
train.
in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, dang, that's like a life-changing amount of money. So what has that been like?
So we've kept it. It's in Ethereum, which is like crazy because Ethereum's like this weird new cryptocurrency that's super like volatile. So we're like, do we keep it in there? Do we take it out? So we've mostly kept it in there. So it's not like, people are like, oh, you made 500,000. It's not like that went into our bank accounts like immediately. Like we paid like some lawyers, we paid some fees, paid some taxes, and then I'm splitting it with my whole family, which is, my brother and my parents. So I think my parents took some of it out to, like pay off the house, pay off the cars, but
Yeah.
I haven't like touched it yet. So when I need it, I'm just kind of using it as like a backup
Like a nice little
money.
backup.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good backup.
Exactly.
So you seem to be a bit of like an expert, right? You know some memes, you've been a meme your whole life. Like I'm trying, like how can I sell a picture of me for $500,000? What do I need to do? Like, do you have any tips or advice? Like, what do I need to do? Right?
People
Look
always
at this
ask
face,
me
right?
this.
Look at this face. Right? Like, what do I need to do? Right?
I know. It's so crazy. And especially now, like everybody wants to be viral, and especially with like TikTok and Instagram, Twitter. Like at this point, everybody's been like a little viral,
Yeah.
for a tweet they did or a TikTok they've done. But I think that just think mine sold for so much because it's like as soon as people started using the internet, or as soon as I got on social media, like that picture has just been doing its own thing, living its own life. People figure out new ways to use it. It's an easy template, like
Yeah.
it's just like two contrasting things. You can use it all types of ways. So as long as, people are disagreeing about something or in contrast, you can use that. And it's like the perfect picture for that.
Yeah, this really interesting point actually, like about like influence in general is like if you have to be the one peddling it, then like it's gonna take a lot of like muscle grease or whatever it's called, right? Elbow grease, right?
Yeah.
But you basically were just the subject of the photo, and then it had a life of its own, and it became this crazy thing, and now you just get to kind of reap all these amazing benefits and stuff. So that's super cool. I think that's a really good point. What's been like the craziest thing that's happened from it, or like opportunity that you've gotten to have because of that?
So besides the NFT, which is like obvious because that's still insane and I can't even like wrap my head around it now, I think it was probably the BuzzFeed Hall of Fame thing, just because I was in Shanghai that summer, like when that happened. And so they like reached out to me because I've done work with them before, and they're like, hey, we're doing this Internet Hall of Fame, like we'd love for you to come. And I was like, damn, like that would be so fun. Like, but there's no way I can come. I'm in Shanghai, like I'm however many thousand miles away. Like I can't come to New York for 2 days. And they're like, oh, bummer. And then 2 days later, they're like, actually, like, what if we fly you out? And I was like, what? So I have to like go to my boss, my like summer camp counselor boss. I'm like, hey, can I have like 2 days off so I can go like be famous in America, in New York for 2 days and then come right back to Shanghai? It's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, that must have been really cool. So
yeah,
awesome.
super crazy.
Do you sometimes feel like, like either like you got like incredibly lucky, or like do you maybe like sometimes feel guilty, like you don't deserve what you're getting, or like is there any feeling like that going on? Or
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a little bit of both, just because like I didn't do anything. Like I didn't do anything for this to happen to me. Like anybody, it could have been my brother, it could have been anybody. Like memes in general, it's just like one person on the internet's like, oh, this is funny, reshare, and then from there
And then
So now
boom,
I'm
yeah.
like, exactly. Is it like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel like now that I have this like platform and like this money, I need to like do something bigger than myself and like figure out how I can use it for good, because like it's such a privilege. Like it's really not something anybody, like I don't think I deserve it or I earned it. So now
Yeah.
that I have like all these crazy opportunities, I feel like I have to use them for good, some type of way.
Yeah. Have you thought about like becoming like an influencer, careers in entertainment or anything like that? No, not at all.
People always ask me that, and sometimes I'm like, what if I had done that? Because when I got into college, I always knew I wanted to do, I speak Chinese, so I was like, oh, I'll do like Chinese and international relations, like that's always been the thing. And then halfway through college, I was like, what if I did like media, like what if I did, like something like that? But I don't know, I don't think that's like a sustainable like career. Maybe it will be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I mean, first of all, that's really impressive. I think like bilingual jobs in media though, like there's lots
Hmm.
of spaces for that. So you could maybe do like a hybrid of the two, you know?
Yeah, honestly, that'd be cool. I always think
Yeah.
about, I'm like, how can I use the meme fame to like help me in my actual career and like still have a career that I'm interested in doing?
Yeah. I think that's super cool. So you recently graduated, right? During the pandemic?
Yeah, so I just graduated from UNC Chapel Hill.
Hey, go heels. I did
Go
also, so
Heels.
this is just a side note, is I didn't realize that you went to UNC because I'm also in North Carolina. Like,
Oh,
so I was
really?
just messaging all these people and like then I was like, oh my gosh, and I'll bleep out their names. But when I found your Instagram, I think that do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my brother's roommate.
Yeah, dude, what? That is what a
Yeah,
small world.
they live together in Western.
Yeah, so wait, who's your brother?
Tristan Roth.
I went to film school with them.
I have to tell, yeah, he's the one. All the picture that you saw, like the little kid pic, that's Tristan, my
Oh my
brother.
gosh. That you're
That's so
blowing my
funny.
mind.
I have to tell him. I have to tell him I talked to you. Did you go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Western?
Send him a Snapchat of it right now.
Yeah, I will, honestly. He's gonna be like, what the fuck? Nice.
It sucks because I had to come up with a creative way to get in contact with you. But if I would have known how like we had a
Yeah.
mutual connection, I could have just been like, yeah, what's up? Like,
Yo, Tristan, put me on your sister. Let me
yeah,
talk
yeah,
to her. That's so
So when
funny.
I saw
I'm
that, I
gonna
was
send
like,
him.
okay, I don't know if they're following her just because she's like got a bunch of followers and she's a meme or whatever, or if
Hmm.
you knew them. So that's crazy.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's super cool. So yeah. So earlier you kind of said that you always have to talk about the past. So let's talk about your plans for the future, right? You just
Hmm.
graduated. Did you get a degree in what was your degree? Was it something with language or
Yeah, so I got a degree in peace, war, and defense and a
okay.
minor in Mandarin. So it's like international relations. And then I took Chinese classes the whole time and like tried to, because I feel like if you're gonna have a degree in international relations, you obviously need to speak a different language.
Well, that's crazy and like super impressive. Like what do you hope to do with that, you think?
So right now I'm working for a consulting firm in DC. So it's basically just like helping companies understand how to do work with China, because obviously it's like this huge new problem that everyone's like, what are we gonna do? China, how do we deal with China? That's where I come in because I've been
Mm.
studying Chinese my whole life.
That's funny because you know what? Like you're right. Like that, we're not going to get political or anything, but there is like,
Hmm.
that's a big concern for a lot of people. And it'd be
Hmm.
really funny if your arc in life is you go from like the disaster girl to like the savior girl, like the one
Yeah,
that saves us.
diplomacy. Exactly. That's the dream. I need to do something bigger than the meme. So I'm always like, what can it be? And I was like, maybe I can fix our relationship with
Yeah,
China.
like imagine the picture, except instead of a disaster, it's like world peace behind you. Like,
Yeah, right.
right? I think we need that. But yeah, I think that'd be a really funny. They could make a movie out of
Hmm.
that. Like
Oh my
that
God, a movie.
yeah, imagine that. Like from birth, you're like coined as like the disaster child, and then you grow up and
Have to
save
do
the planet.
something bigger. Yeah.
I think that's
That'd be
amazing.
awesome.
All right, awesome. Well, that's kind of all I have for you. Do you have any thoughts or anything you want to say before I let you go?
I don't think anything super eloquent. My brother just texted me back and he said, "What the fuck? He lived in my house at Western before I did. Why are you
Yep.
talking to him?"
Yeah,
That's so
I
funny.
literally, my house is, or I'll bleep out their names, but that's
Yeah.
where they live now. So That's so like I
funny.
know them. That's so crazy.
Awesome. Small world. Such a small world.
Yeah, it is. That's so crazy. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you making time to do this with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, consuming. However you consume this podcast, if you drank it, if you boofed it, however you partook, I hope you enjoyed. That was a really great interview. I had a great time talking to Zoe. And hey, we found out that I used to live in the house that her brother now lives in. So small world. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys like, comment, share, all that kind of stuff. It means a lot. Support the podcast. All right. We on the grind. Okay. So I just appreciate all the love, support, all that kind of stuff. So I have some really exciting interviews coming up, especially next. There's gonna be a really cool one. So I hope that you guys stay tuned because we're only getting bigger, moving forward. All right, gaining momentum. So beep, get the fuck out of the way. All right. Thanks guys for watching.